What's up, fellas? It's Colby with Sawn Outdoors, and today I wanted to jump on here and do a review video on the hunting boots that I wore last season. So today I want to talk about this pair of boots right here by Zamberlan. This is the 971 Guide Luxe, not to be mistaken with the new boot that Zamberlan just released this year, which is the Guide Luxe Max. So they do have a new model, the Max. It's supposed to be even a little bit beefier, better, which is crazy because this was an awesome boot. So today I want to talk about these, just kind of run through some of the things that I would look at if I were considering a new pair of hunting boots, the things that I would want to know. This has been a really awesome pair of boots. First thing I'll talk about is weight. If weight is a big concern to you, if you're looking for like a really lightweight hunting boot, then this model probably isn't the best bet. They are a little bit heavier of a boot, but for me, that also means typically that they're more durable. And if you handle this boot, if you hold it, if you look at it, check it out, you can really tell that it was built to last. This thing is solid. These boots are rock solid. They are a bit heavier. So I wear a size, this pair right here is a size 14, which is the largest pair that Zamberlan offers in this model. And I weighed them on my scale before this video so that I could let you guys know. And this pair, the pair weighs 5 pounds. So you're looking at roughly 2.5 pounds per boot, which is a bit heavy. They are a little bit heavier, but I'm willing to sacrifice that extra weight for the durability that this boot offers. And it has been awesome that way. So they are a little heavier, but in my opinion, when it comes to durability and all around for every kind of condition or environment that you might put them in, they're going to hold up. These things are going to meet your expectation no matter what kind of terrain you're hunting or hiking in. I found these to be really solid. If you're able to own more than one pair, then you may get a lighter pair for some of the early season stuff. Luckily, you know, for me, I was able to run 2 different pairs. I do own the Lynx BOA that Zamberlan offers, and that was kind of my early season boot, but I found myself wearing this pair a lot more than the Lynx just because I love how solid they are and how durable they are. So they do come with Vibram soles. Zamberlan offers those. Super solid. Not 100% positive off the top of my head, but I believe that Zamberlan refers to this particular sole as like their Star Trek design. They have it on quite a few of their boots. They have it on the Saguaro, the Wasatch. I'm pretty sure the Outfitter. Obviously the Guide Luxe has it, but it's just a rock solid sole that they offer and bottom to the boot. Just super durable. You can be hunting in shell rock or rock slides, be walking across that all day, and your feet still aren't going to hurt. These soles hold up. I've hunted in that country, and I'm just super impressed that you don't feel the rocks through the sole. That's a big thing for me. I hate feeling the rocks pushing through the sole all day long, and so that's one thing I've loved about these. They do have the rubber band that runs all the way around the boot, all the way around the heel, and I've been impressed at how well that's held up over the time that I've wore these. So this particular pair, I started wearing them last spring, wore them through shed season, wore them through the summer scouting season, and wore them all through the hunts, and I've still been wearing them. I wore them just recently coyote hunting here in Utah. So I would say if I were to estimate how many miles I have on this pair of boots, I would say it's definitely closer to 200 miles than it is to 100. I don't have an exact number, but I know it's got to be pushing about 200 miles with how much I've gone out and how many trips I've wore these boots on. So I do get out more than probably the average person. I spend a lot of time in the hills, like I said, from spring all the way till the end of the year with the hunts. And I put these boots through a lot, and the wear and tear on them has been dang impressive. I'm gonna bring the camera in and bring it up close so you guys can see, but all in all, the leather is in awesome shape. The soles look like I haven't worn them as much as I have. The soles look amazing. They're in really good shape, and the rubber's in good shape. I do have an area or two where I've snagged it, so it has maybe a little tear or a chip, but I'll show you that when I bring the camera in. But all in all, these things have been amazing as far as their durability. So here's a close-up of my boots so you can get a better idea of some of the wear and tear. Like I said, they're not quite a full year old, but they have been used and abused. And I take care of them. I don't baby them by any means, but I do take care of them. And they're still dirty. I don't clean them after every use, but they have been solid. There's like a little cut right there in the rubber, nothing major. Soles they look brand new still. Like it's just crazy to me that the soles can hold up that well. Amazing soles. So here's a look at this one. It's in very similar condition. Just still plenty of miles left. These things have a ton of life left. Honestly, I'm dang curious to see how many years I can get out of them, but I can't imagine they won't last me another 1 to 2 years at least. So we'll kind of see. I imagine the rubber will be one of the first things to start giving up the ghost. But overall, they've just been rock solid. So there's a good close-up of them. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit about comfort. This boot for me has been really comfortable right out of the box. I didn't have much of a break-in period at all. Other than this particular boot is very stiff. This is, if you go to Zamberlan's website, they have a scale of the different levels of stiffness for their boots. And this one's pretty high. It might even be the highest rating. It is a stiff boot. It doesn't have a ton of flex, so there is that little bit of break-in as you wear them. That does give in a little bit, but they still have remained pretty stiff, which I love because they offer great ankle support. They're really solid that way. So it is a stiffer boot. Been really awesome though, and very comfortable. So for me, my foot is kind of between a 13 and a 14, depending on the make or model of boot or shoe that I'm buying. The very first pair of Zamberlans I owned were the Sagueros. I ran those last season, did a review video on those for those of you that are returning, watching again. We appreciate you. But the Sagueros I wore in a 13. And with Zamberlan's boots, one thing that I've noticed, or my opinion, the toe box is a little bit narrower than maybe your average boot or normal boot. And so where I'm kind of between sizes, 13, 14, those 13s were really tight on me with that narrower toe box. And over time could be uncomfortable if I wore them for long stretches. So this year, I jumped to the next biggest size, which for the Lynx that I own, as well as the Guide Lux, was a size 14. I never had a single issue. They fit great from day one. I haven't had any of those issues where they feel really tight on my toes. So I just needed to bump up a size, and I found that was perfect for me. So if you are in the market, you are shopping for some Zamberlans, this particular pair it retails for about $450. You may be able to find it a little bit cheaper than that or on sale from time to time. So they're not cheap boots. They're a really high quality boot that is going to last you much longer than one season. I mean, this has 1 full year on it right now. And looking at it and judging it, I bet you I can get at least 2 more out of them, barring anything crazy happening. So they are a bit pricier. I highly recommend you go to a retail store, a Sportsman's or a Cabela's, Bass Pro, whatever, somewhere that carries them. Try them on first. Make sure you really like the fit. If you're right on that border, I would recommend bumping up a size or half size, whatever it may be, because I found that to be the ticket for me on these, was bumping to that 14. These things have been amazing. No issues, crazy comfortable, really, really liked them. So that covers the size. I'll talk a little bit about the waterproofing. So they are obviously full Gore-Tex, pretty waterproof, pretty dang waterproof. I found all 3 Zamberlans I've worn have been as waterproof as any boot I've ever worn, which is not 100%. There's no such thing as 100% waterproof, at least in my experience. But these have held the water out as good as any boot I've ever worn. And one thing that's really helped with that is I have applied this Hydro Block that Zamberlan sells for their boots. Just comes in like a little spray bottle container, and you just spritz it on the boot all the way around, obviously cover the entire area. I do that every couple months or so, maybe every month, every 2 months, depending on how much I've wore the boots. And that has helped them remain super waterproof. I mean, the only time I've really gotten my feet wet is if I've hunted in a day where it's rained basically from sun up to sundown. The grass is soaked, plus it's constantly raining. So the boots are getting wet all day long. They've eventually let some water in. But all in all, super, super good as far as the waterproofing goes. The Gore-Tex is solid. So been a great boot as far as that goes. If you're only looking for one boot, if you're looking for one boot that can do it all, that you can hunt in from the early season all the way till late season, I would say this is the go-to. For me, this is my go-to boot. This boot is awesome for every condition, every terrain you can put it through. It is a bit heavier, but like I said, I'm willing to sacrifice wearing a little bit heavier boot for a boot that I know is going to perform for me in every kind of condition, and the Guide Lux will do that. So I highly, highly recommend the boot. It is solid, rock solid. Like I said, pushing probably 200 miles, maybe even a little more, and it does not show. They are holding up very well. So been super pleased with them. Crazy awesome boot. I hope that helps some of you guys out. Like I said, Zamberlan makes super high quality boots, so they are a little bit more spendy, but they're, in my experience, have been worth every penny. I highly recommend them. Check them out. If you're interested in this model, I would even consider you look at the Guide Max, the Guide Lux Max. That's the one I'm wanting to get now that they've released it. It's supposed to be, it's the identical platform, but they've improved a couple of things, added some things, some features I'd have to go read just to know exactly what. But all in all, this has been an awesome boot. Hope that's helpful. Please like the video, subscribe to our channel. We do our best to provide honest feedback on the gear that we use. That's one of the main things we tell these companies, is that we are going to go ahead, we want to provide honest feedback, the things that we've really been impressed with, and even if there's things that we haven't liked. But on this particular boot, I can't really list one thing that I haven't liked about it. It's been solid all around. If you're looking for the one boot to do it all, that's this one. Unless you're hunting crazy cold Arctic conditions where your feet get cold, because this is non-insulated. Don't know if I mentioned that. This is non-insulated. They do not offer it in an insulated model. For me, I will say, when I've like coyote hunted in it, or even on some of the late season hunts, I've just wore a heavier wool sock. It's actually a sock Zamberlan sells. They're heavier wool sock with these, and I've been fine. My feet haven't gotten real cold. If you were to sit in place all day in some extreme cold conditions, your feet may get cold. So if that's what you're doing a lot, then you may want to look into some of their insulated models. But otherwise, this boot will get it done for you. Thanks, fellas.